Bernie Sanders, you want to provide healthcare and education to undocumented immigrants in America. Don't you think, this is a literal question that Dana Bash asked, don't you think that encourages undocumented immigrants from coming into the country? And he quickly answered it with, no, you have a strong border and you provide these services to people who are already in the country. But by the way, here's one other part of that answer. We already provide healthcare to undocumented immigrants. It's more expensive the way that we do it now because they don't get preventative healthcare at all, and then they end up in emergency rooms, and that costs a lot more money than having a system in place that gives preventative care and ensures that they don't end up in emergency rooms at the rates that they're appearing so far.
And just quickly, when he said it, a mother that walks here from her country and risks her life to come here is not necessarily thinking about health care and programs. She's thinking about her safety and the safety of her child.
She's thinking about opportunity here. That's what this is.
But it's escaping. That's why it's called they're seeking asylum. They're escaping problems in their countries that were caused by our countries destabilizing their governments. So, we got to talk about the real. We can't just keep talking about these immigrants and not saying what's going on where they are.
And there's a demographic shift. So previously, the majority of undocumented immigration came from Mexico, and it was for economic opportunity. The demographic has completely shifted to people coming from Central American countries, people who are fleeing violence specifically, which is what you're alluding to. Yes, there are some people who are coming here looking for opportunity, but for the majority of Central Americans trying to come in, people who are seeking asylum, they're not thinking about the healthcare benefits that they're gonna get in the country. They're thinking about, what can I do to ensure my child doesn't get murdered?
Still, because look, we're gonna keep talking about immigration until November of 2020 because the other party wants us to talk about that. I mean, this isn't happening in a vacuum. They're doing all this on purpose. They think it's a winning issue. They think it will literally give them the election. It is almost their only issue. Tax cuts, keep the brown people out, right? They're taking your jobs, they're taking your health care, and we can't pay for it, and these guys want to give it to them for free. So while I thought parts of the debate were great, we're like, Pete Buttigieg says it a lot, that, look, man, they're gonna call us, I'm paraphrasing, but they're gonna call us communists, we might as well act like communists, right? But I think it is critical that Democrats and Bernie, if he's gonna be the nominee, Elizabeth Warren too, but I think Bernie's answers on immigration are weak. They're not great. They're not strong politically. He says, the thing you alluded to, Anna, he says, strong border protections. And then he goes to why everybody gets to come in and not be a criminal. And I just, polling shows it. I mean, majority of America, we don't want an open border. We don't want people,
I don't remember his answer saying everybody gets to come in.
No, he didn't. No, he said, but it wouldn't be criminalized. So yeah, he said strong border protections, and that was all he said about it.
But historically, it hasn't been criminalized, right? I mean, it was not treated as some felony offense to come into the country and be undocumented.
I'm saying Bernie needs to recognize the way people perceive him. And so he can't just say strong border protections. He has to seem facile about what happens at the border, what we do. He did mention that we would increase the number of judges to look at asylum cases. I want much more of that because I think it is a political weakness.
But I think Bernie is trying not to pander to the Republican base by making that border issue such a big deal because they are always doing that. And I think what he's saying is strong border protection and on with it. Like he doesn't believe that most of the people are coming here are criminals. He doesn't believe that they are the maras that are coming through across the border to kill and rape and do all the things that Donald Trump is saying that he's doing. So I think sometimes that when you dignify that and you start saying, yeah, we are gonna make sure that we are safe, that the border, you are feeding that.
Let me be clear about what I mean, because what I mean, you're right. What I mean is heft. Like when Bernie Sanders ran in 2016, he hammered basically 1 point, the 99% and the one. He hammered it. And then there was a very clear sense that, like when he talked about foreign policy, we know his heart's in the right place. We know he'd do the right thing, but he did not have heft on it. So what he has to do, I know we got to take a break, is he has to find heft on immigration without falling into the trap of talking about it the way this is a challenging skill, and this is where we separate serious politicians and presidential politicians from people who are merely United States senators.
I got to make one final point on that, because I get what you're saying. You have to speak a language that resonates with voters across the board, right? So one thing that resonates is resources. Where are we spending our resources? And you know where we're spending our resources when it comes to immigration? Private prisons that are, managing these disgusting, facilities, these detention facilities where people are living in squalor.
Even that's a better answer.
That's a better answer, exactly. So talk about the millions of dollars in federal contracts Geo Group and Core Civic get just to keep these migrants in squalor, where 24 migrants have died under US custody. We are spending our taxpayer money to watch migrants die in US custody. I mean, I get what you're saying. I just think that it is a fine line, and you don't want to pander to the type of framing that we see from the right wing. So there could be a little more strength in the way that you answer that. But I honestly didn't see a strong answer from any of the candidates when it came to immigration.
Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.